Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Promised video comparison between the two Romeo sights that I own. One of them is Romeo 5 and one of them is the Romeo-MSR. I even made a list of the main features between the two sights and to try to identify the main, most important differences. Honestly, not that much, but let's follow. Let's move the sights out of the way. Well, they're actually on the pistols. And I'm going to put the comparison next to them. Sig Romeo 5, MSRP 179. Sig Romeo-MSR, exclusive to Cabela's, theoretically, MSRP 149. Street price, you can get Romeo 5 for about 105 to 120, and MSR is about $100. I would call it a wash. So both of them are about the same level. Both of them are 20mm 2 MOA red dots, same. One of the main features that has presence or is present on Romeo 5 is the MO tach, which is the turn on motion, basically. A method Sig uses to save the battery. It is present only on Romeo 5. There is no such feature on Romeo-MSR. Again, this thing has it. This thing does not. Number of hours that each sight is supposed to work. Per Sig website, 40,000 plus on the Romeo 5 and 20,000 plus on Romeo-MSR. This goes to Romeo 5 as far as value, or better option theoretically. 20,000 and 40,000 is still a huge number of hours. Both of them are IPX7 compliant, in other words waterproof. They're both also fog proof and whatnot. There is one difference where Romeo-MSR has, in my comparison, better option. It has 10 day and 2 night brightness options, where MSR is better because Romeo 5 has only 8 day settings. So this goes to plus to MSR. The batteries between the two sides are also different. 2032 on, I think it's 2032 battery, this guy. On the Romeo 5, which is a very common battery. And 1632 on MSR. In my mind, this gives a plus to Romeo 5. Not because it's more expensive, but because it's simply easier to find. I use that battery a lot on different sites. It is much more common on different red dots and whatnot. Also, Romeo 5 has two different mounts. It has a low mount and a co-witness mount, where Romeo-MSR has only one absolute co-witness mount, is the one it comes in. I do not know if it is a T1 compatible mount, but that would not surprise me. Romeo 5 has a plus. The other difference, which is very visible, Romeo-MSR is supplied with the installed covers, where Romeo 5 is not. In this case, I'm going to give a point to Romeo-MSR. So, if we look at this, as far as points, additional points, 2 extra points for Romeo-MSR, 4 extra points to Romeo 5. Romeo 5 wins, if you like that approach. It's simply more capable for different reasons than Romeo-MSR. Admittedly, it can be found a lot more expensive than Romeo-MSR, but if you find Romeo 5 for the price is around 100, I think it is a slightly better deal than Romeo-MSR. Now, my personal points of view, where Romeo-MSR in my mind is better, it is not controlled by buttons like Romeo 5. Let me zoom in a little. Put these two guns standing and zoom. Zoom, 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 zoom. Okay, as you can see, Romeo 5 is controlled by buttons. I don't like that. Romeo-MSR is controlled by the turret for brightness. I like that honestly more than the buttons because you know instantly what your settings are. Also, Romeo-MSR is protected by these covers, which are see-through, and this is the first time I actually took them off. I'm going to keep them on probably forever. By the way, notice that they're not easy to put back on, and they click, which is good. That means it's going to be hard to take them off. So that's a Romeo-MSR. As you can see, the main differences are the covers, the turret for the brightness that has both daylight and night, and you can instantly see your brightness level. The battery is in that same turret at the top. And you have your windage and other adjustments. Romeo 5, which I do own and I consider a very good deal, even though I bought it at 120. Obviously, the covers are removable, so there is no protection for the optics when you use this side. You have to use the buttons which are fairly easy to control, no question about that. It is an excellent sight, I have tried it. Right now it's an absolute co-witness mount, as you can see, on this FX9 9mm AR pistol. Of course, you have your battery on the side, it's a 2032, and you have your adjustments on top and the side. Very similar to how they are on the MSR, with one difference. If you notice, on the MSR, those turrets are a little bit better protected than on the Romeo. In other words, Romeo is basically a smaller battery in some ways version of the Romeo line, Romeo 5, not there are many Romeos, but for probably worse environments. It is simply slightly more protected than the Romeo 5, while at the same time removing the MOTAC mechanism and allowing this thing to work probably in the wetter areas or worse climate at almost the same price range. That's all. In my mind, both of them are a very good deal, and which exemplifies that I own both. If I were to buy another Sig Red Dot, which one would I personally buy? Honestly, I kind of like the protection of the MSR more. I don't need the extra 20,000 hours of the Sig Romeo. Now, if you were buying a Red Dot for home defense, simply change the battery once a year. Admittedly, the 1632 battery is harder to find, but it is still a usual kind of battery. Not the most common one, but it is still available and should be able to be found. That's all. That's all I had to share on these two Red Dots. So far, neither of them failed me, but I'm not exactly putting them through any kind of abuse. Romeo 5, for that matter, is sitting on a 9mm. And this gun, I have not even shot much. This is my brand new PSA AR-15 pistol. It's not even finished as far as build is concerned. So let's take a look at the Red Dots again. Here is a Romeo-MSR, up close and personal. I wish there was a QD mount, but I wouldn't be surprised if something is compatible. I simply have not had a chance to test. Okay, and here's the Romeo 5 with the caps on. The buttons are very responsive, I will admit that. This thing does not give it a very good look. Let's look without the cups, the covers. Thank you for watching. Thank you for subscribing if you like this material. Please comment, click like, and do whatever it is that is a normal behavior on YouTube. No swearing, of course. Okay, let's take a look at them side by side. And I'm going to zoom in a little bit. This shows the two sides next to each other. So looking at them this way, it does look like Romeo-MSR is slightly larger on the gun, slightly longer. So let's compare. About, I would say, 3 inches and 2.5 inches. That makes a bit of a difference. Some of it is possibly because of the covers. But Romeo-MSR seems to be a little bit longer. If that matters to people, please take that into account. It probably does matter to those that put a magnifier behind it. I don't. That's all. Thank you for watching. Until the next video.